Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Uncle Matt.
I'm Mimi.
Hey, I'm Joel.
I'm Megan.
I'm Tracy.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. Welcome back, everyone. We were just working on getting the animals fed and doing some cleaning. With as busy as we have been, it gets kind of difficult. You just feed and then you're on to another job. We haven't had the opportunity to clean up too well. We've got something exciting planned for today. We're gonna be planting zucchini, cucumbers, and our pickling cucumbers.
They're pickles.
And if you're new to the channel, you better get used to us calling pickling cucumbers pickles, because that's what they are. Something that's nice about today, it's not too hot. It's a good day to be out on the water wheel transplanter. Now when it comes to our zucchini, pickles, cucumbers, and squash, we plant 3 different plantings of them a year. This is gonna be our early planting. If we're feeling a little wild, we'll try and slip a 4th planting in there, but it gets difficult in Northeast Pennsylvania sometimes. We've had all of this stuff in the greenhouse for so long. Look at some of these plants. Look at this one. Ooh, look at that thing. These are way too big, but because it was so nice out, we were so busy in the farm market that we weren't able to get out and plant these.
Before we can go out and start planting, we have to take vegetables up to the farm market.
So we're in kind of a pinch. Our one tractor is down and out. We're not gonna be able to use it. We've been waiting on it to get repaired for about a week. And Dad's been spraying beans all day. He likes to use the 2-wheel drive 100 tractor to do that. We're gonna be using the 130 to transplant with the water wheel transplanter. It's gonna look ridiculous with that water wheel transplanter on this machine. It wasn't too difficult to get this machine hooked up. It actually doesn't look too bad on here. We're all set and ready to go.
There's no water yet.
There's no. Yep, now we got water. We're constantly going to be filling up water here back at the home farm, because as we use this machine, it goes through water pretty quick, and we don't want to be stopping and waiting to fill it up, so we're going to keep running that tank full. Okay, what's after pickles? We are back on the water wheel transplanter. All we have to do is plant vegetables now. The way this works, we have 2 tanks of water up there. As we go through, the wheel will turn and poke holes into the mulch, and then as we put the plants into the holes that are poked, the water sucks it fast.
Okay, Danny man.
You can go a little faster. So there really isn't much going on here. Joel and I are just working together, trying not to miss any of the spots. This isn't too exciting of a job, but this is a very important one. So Joel and I have to work together to make sure that we don't miss any, because if we do, Dad yells at you.
So Andrew, is there any negative drawbacks when it comes to having the mulch black with heat for the plants?
Not for like the pickles and cucumbers and stuff like that. Usually by the time where it starts to get too hot, the plants will have outgrown the black on the mulch, so this will be completely covered with plants. So it won't heat up too bad. It's really beneficial for when the plants are this size. It's gonna be 39 degrees coming up here at the one night, but it's gonna be about 70 through the day. So the black mulch will absorb the heat, so we don't have to worry about the cold weather at night.
How long does this mulch stay intact before it starts getting broken down by the sun?
Okay, so this mulch will start to break down. By the end of the year, we'll notice a difference in it. It'll be a lot easier to tear. And then by next year, it's almost basically all gone. And then the following year, it's basically non-existent. Yep, there we go. We got our first line of pickles in. This is an exciting time. I'm happy. Now we're gonna be doing 3, possibly 4 plantings of pickles, cucumbers, and zucchini and yellow squash. Like I mentioned earlier, this is gonna be our first planting, and we've almost got all of our pickles planted. It just looks so nice to have plants going down these rows of mulch. We try and finish even on the plants so we're not planting cucumbers and then the pickling cucumbers together, getting them all mixed up. Joel is finishing off his tray. We've only got a few more left of those, and then we're moving on to our cucumbers. We've been having a really good morning on the farm. We've gotten sidetracked with a few different things. A couple farmers came for seed today. We've got 3 rows planted already, which is pretty good for the morning with everything that we had to do. Now we're gonna head back to the farm and get some lunch. And the whole time that we were planting, our tank was filling up with water. So when we're ready to head back out, we'll be good.
We are back out here planting cucumbers. As you can tell by the way that the plant looks exactly the same. Andrew, what would we do if we didn't have name tags?
Probably mess up a lot. See, this is what we don't want. You see how he's driving on the drip tape? So when that happens, we have to say, Daniel, you're driving on the drip tape! Because the longer that he drives on the drip tape, the more likely that there'll be holes in it. And then that causes difficulties when we start to irrigate with our drip lines. And basically the biggest problem would be when we do start to irrigate, we have to fix all these holes. And it just takes a lot of extra time and we could lose water pressure. All the cucumbers are now planted. We've moved on to green zucchini. These plants are very large, so it makes it a little difficult when you're trying to plant, but we're gonna be okay. What's that?
More zucchini.
Because it's gonna be green zucchini to yellow zucchini. So it's not that big of a deal if we don't leave a space.
But how are you gonna tell the difference?
One will be green, one will be yellow.
Genius.
All right, hold on. Oh, Joel reached! Oh. The planter holds about 150 gallons of water, and we can fit quite a few plants on there. But when we get done, we have to come back, fill back up with plants and water, and on hot days, we can usually get a drink for ourselves. Now we're gonna be moving on to planting tomatoes with the water wheel transplanter. We have all these tomatoes right here, ready to go. And the first variety we're gonna be working on is called Red Deuce. Our next variety we're going to be planting after Red Deuce is going to be Primo Red. We planted Primo Red last year. It was our first year trying it. And as you can see, we liked it so much, we're planting it again. We just added another variety onto the planter. We just added Biltmore. So we have Primo Red, Red Deuce, and Biltmore. You're going off the plastic! I know! Tomatoes aren't too difficult to plant. If we break off the roots, they'll most likely grow, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Our plants are not root bound. It's gonna take them a few days to finally get like acclimated to the soil temperature, but when they do, they are gonna take off like a rocket.
That, and hopefully tomorrow we have a thunderstorm coming. It'll give them a nice nitrogen boost. And a little bit of a shower.
We actually just ran into a little bit of a problem.
I'm a problem? It is 3 p.m. and I have to go feed horses because I got a lot of stuff that I have to do this afternoon that I usually do in the mornings because we had a vet show up to do our yearly shots. So I didn't have the time to do what I normally do in the morning. So I got to do that now.
We went and looked for someone that was able to help us, and Matthew is going to be able to help us. We only have a few more tomatoes here, so hopefully if we can get our first planting of tomatoes finished today, that would be really good. We have got the last of the Biltmore loaded up, and we loaded up our plum tomatoes. Now some of you may be wondering, why do we plant 3 different varieties of tomatoes? And the best way for me to answer that is we plant 3 different day varieties. And we know how the tomatoes grow. We've been planting them for quite some time. And we found out these varieties work really well for us here in Northeast Pennsylvania. One problem that people will have is all their tomatoes will be ripe at one time. Now, if you're picking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bushels of tomatoes, that's okay for us. And later in the year, we may need that. But with our first planting, we don't want everything being ripe at the same time. That gives you a higher possibility to waste tomatoes. And wasted tomatoes is wasted time and money when it comes to vegetable farming. We're all finished with our round tomatoes, and now we're moving on to plum tomatoes, and you'll never guess who showed up.
I worked all day. I just wasn't working with you.
We just got our first crop of tomatoes finished. We have 2 more crops that we're gonna be planting later on in the year, but for today, we are done with tomatoes. On the transplanter, you saw we had a single wheel. The only thing we'll use the single wheel for yet will be more tomatoes in the future, more cucumbers, more zucchini, and eggplant. Some people will plant 2 rows of eggplant on 1 row of mulch, but we don't like to crowd the eggplant. And with the truckloads of eggplant that we took out of here last year, I think we did okay on it. We are gonna have to add another wheel on for our peppers though. There's a lot of peppers here we're gonna be planting shortly, and we use 2 wheels for that. How did everything go with the horses today?
Very good, very good. I didn't have any problems, but what did happen earlier was pretty interesting. I'll give you the rundown in the story. So we're hooking up the 130 to the water wheel transplanter, and Daniel yells down, "Joel, I think I see a horse up there." And we're looking up on the ridge in this field, and I'm like, "I don't see any horse. What are you talking about?" So I go up the ladder, level with Daniel, and he says, "Right between those 2 apple trees, there's a horse head. I swear, I just saw it up there in the wheat field." I didn't believe him. There was no way that there could have been a horse up there. I thought, well, I better go investigate this. So I went down and got on the 4-wheeler, and then we headed up the hill to go see if there was a horse up there. To my surprise, there wasn't a horse up there. There was 2. So we found 2 black horses that were sitting up there. They were geldings, looks like Tennessee Walkers. They weren't ours, which I was pretty relieved about. But there was the conundrum of, we can't let the horses sit in the wheat field and eat all the wheat, and we also need to figure out whose horses there were. So I went around in a big loop and found out which one the leader was, and he was pretty scared. So once he realized I wasn't a threat, he came right up to me, and his friend followed. I then walked back. I called my mom, who was at the horse stable, and she sent out 2 girls that were helping with the shots at the horse stable, and they gave me a rope halter and a lead rope as I was walking the horses back. We found out whose horses they were and what ended up happening to get out. Horses were fine, everything was fine. They were picked up later on, and everyone's back home where they're supposed to be.
I was just in the farm market all day.
Bye, Matt.
Bye, Joel.
Bye, Joel. Bye, Megan.
Bye, Tracy. Bye, April.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, Andrew.
I thought that guy would never leave. I think he wanted to stay for supper.
Probably because Grammy's cooking tonight.
Oh, you're outside today. What are we having for dinner tonight?
Having pork chops and zucchini.
Oh, I was worried there was no vegetables there, Grandma. You know, being a vegetable farm and all.
We don't have enough chairs around the table.
Nom nom nom. Tracy has learned how to cook and has now decided she doesn't want to anymore.
That's not true.
So we're back to eating dinner here.
That is not true. That's funny, but no.
All right, guys, we're gonna sit down and enjoy some dinner. So this is where we're gonna end the video today. I wanna thank everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.